All right, everybody, we're back again with the next interview, and this time we're actually talking to Bakery of Team Bob, now Team Dignitas. And well, I guess we're just gonna jump in with that right away. So, how did that actually come to pass that you guys are now finally picked up by a team, and why the choice to go to Dignitas and not any other team?
So we actually had a few contract issues left over from SK. They ended on the 30th, and we signed with Dignitas on the 1st. That basically left us like a huge window of time to find an org. And so we spoke to about 20 really big esports orgs.
20.
Yeah, about 20. We spoke to pretty much everyone that I can think of. And in the end, like, Team Dignitas was...
This is basically the moment where you're thinking about, like, how do I phrase that and not just say, like, they paid the most.
I mean, they were the org that, like, they put the most into us as a team. It felt like they really cared, and that's what made the difference.
How important was it for you that they are actually like a UK-based organization? Because I think it's pretty cool that we have now a team that has like 3 UK players picked up by a UK organization. That's pretty cool if you have something like that. Did that play a role, or was that just an added bonus?
I honestly didn't think about it until way after we'd actually done the deal. It doesn't really matter much for me. I think they quite liked it, because obviously it's sort of where they come from, help grow the UK scene. But no, it's definitely cool, but it did not factor into the decision.
I actually talked to Red Eye about it like earlier as well. I met up with him and we talked a bit about like Heroes in general and also about their teams, and he's really happy that there's finally a UK team that is doing well in any kind of esports sport, because you guys been suffering for a few years.
Yeah, we definitely have. Like, nobody knows about esports in England.
I mean, it's getting better. Like, with Gfinity, you have an organization that is really putting a lot of work in, so that's always awesome. But, like, talking a bit, of course, about also what's, like, going on here right now, we have with, once again, you guys defeating Team Liquid. Now, Team Liquid out of the tournament, and therefore they won't go to Blizzcon, which is just absolutely incredible if you think about it. It's kind of fitting that the Spanish Armada is defeated by a UK team. I mean, we'll have back in history there. But you guys have an incredible track record against Team Liquid. Like, you've won the last 4 or 5 series that you played against them. Why do you think that is?
We have a really good just matchup against Liquid. Their strengths in terms of like diversity in compositions, off-meta picks, strong mechanical players are also our strengths. So whoever's in better format at the time of the series should end up taking it, and obviously recently it's been us. But we're by no means like a way stronger team. It's been really close every time, 2-1 today. So yeah, it's just a good matchup for us, and we're on form.
When the old SK team fell apart, like, what's really interesting to me is like how you guys transitioned into becoming first Bob and then of course now Dignitas. If at some point along the road there was a point where you guys were thinking about just like throwing it all away, because you've been new to the esports scene in general, you've made like an opening with Heroes for yourself and with the rest of the team, and then you like joined SK, which was a great organization there of course at the time, and now that fell apart. Was there a time when you just like said, all right, it's not worth it anymore, like we can't really keep this up?
So right after we stopped playing with SK, we had a bit of a break. I think it was like 2 or 3 week break. And then we sort of came back together, we said we'd like to play again, and then we started looking for players, and Snitch knew but didn't really speak to, and I also knew of this guy called Athera, and he was a league player. Me and Snitch used to play with him all the time, not specifically, but it's got matched into him, and we knew he was really good. Snitch went to school with him, he went to events with him, played on teams with him, so Athera wanted to start playing, and we sort of saw this and we're like, make him a tank player. Let's get to him, make him a tank player. So we sort of met up with him, we spoke to him, and we were like, yo, can you like play tanks? And he started. And then after about 3 weeks of him playing, ADRD became a free agent. He was obviously kicked from G2. And as soon as we saw that, we were just like, this is it. We have our shot caller, we have our drafter, we have our team captain. So we just picked him up. We started playing together. Obviously, Athera's only been playing the game for 3 weeks. He's never played a competitive match. And we started scrimming Liquid. And we got absolutely smashed by them for about a week. I don't think we won a game. And we finally won a game against them. It was Stitch's Tyrande. First game we've ever played Stitches, I think first game we ever played Tyrande, and we won it, and that was the point we've like, okay, we've made it, let's go and win stuff.
Well, you've won actually quite a lot, and you are one of the teams that is currently also favored to go to Blizzcon. Group A was the group of death, and you together with Navi were able to advance there. But you lost also to Navi yesterday, and you were a bit surprised by them. So do you think that they can pull something like that again? Do you think that maybe like with the first games that you played, you also the offline factor was present? I mean, today you played for the first time in front of such a big audience. You, of course, were already at like an offline event, but I don't think on that scale. So how much does that affect you? And do you think that by now, after the first few games, you can deal with it a little bit easier?
That was actually my first ever game on stage of anything. So I was kind of nervous at the start, but not too much. But once I sort of got into the game, I just forgot about everything, apart from when we were making plays. When we're making plays and you hear the crowd, like, you can't actually hear anything else. You can kind of hear the commentators, but not anything they say. But it's just sort of like jumbled. But when the crowd start roaring after like winning a team fight, it just feels amazing. In terms of Navi, I think they put a lot of work in coming into this event. They did a boot camp, and they really made it count, because they are, I think, definitely the strongest team here. I think we can beat them in the finals, because I think we'll do better on stage than them. But they 100% deserve to go to Blizzcon. I think they'll 100% be in the finals.
Okay, so like talking a little bit about like you also on a personal basis. You, as far as I know, still live at home. You said that you have actually like also like a brother. When it comes to your family, how much is esports really discussed there? Like, is it something that your parents are worried about, or are they by now at the point where they're saying, okay, apparently he can make something with that, and are they okay with it?
So at first, when I first started playing, they weren't really too into it, and then when I started playing Heroes again, they were almost less into it. But at some point, I ended up leaving school, and as soon as I left school, suddenly my parents are like 100% behind it. Like, let's go, yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make sense to me either. But yeah. So as soon as I left school, they started watching a few of my matches. They've taken me to the airports and stuff, and I've been getting sort of a live update on WhatsApp. They've all been watching this tournament. My brother, my parents, my nan, my aunties, and they're all like, "Wow, you did really well that game. The commentators said you were good." They have no idea what's going on, but I think they quite enjoy it. So,
okay, that's actually like pretty awesome. That's one of the best stories that I heard in that case. So at this point, I guess a shout out also like to the parents that might be watching this. Talking a bit about like what's coming next. BlizzCon is of course something that you didn't qualify for yet, but you have a good shot there. What are your goals beyond qualifying and playing at BlizzCon? Like for the future, is there any like tournament or any like country where you want to play, in any tournament where you want to play, anything that you want to accomplish for yourself or with the team?
I think the biggest thing for me about getting to BlizzCon would 100% be the chance to play MVP Black, and specifically Mary Day. Like, they are perceived as the best team in the world right now, but I think we can beat them.
Confidence, I like it. Talking like a little bit also about your role. I mean, right now you're playing a support player. Before that, you were actually on the assassin role. What triggered that switch?
So, at one point, I'd like to think I was the best mains assassin. And once sort of SK stopped playing together, I realized that I wasn't actually the top player anymore. I wasn't particularly close. And so I was sort of had my doubts. I thought maybe I should role swap. I kept telling myself it was a bad idea because I'd waste all the time. But when the sort of team came together, we had ADRD and Theron tank, or ADRD and damage obviously, the slot was just there for support, and I thought this is the chance. I was a support in League, so it's not uncommon to me.
How long did you actually play League? Like, do you have a big esports background when it comes to League of Legends, or is this really the first time that you're making such a big effort at going pro?
I played League quite a lot, not as much as I play Heroes or played Heroes when I started. I used to play about 4 games a day, I think. I was Challenger in solo queue, which is the top 200, but I never really broke into the competitive scene because I was a bit too inconsistent. But with Heroes, sort of as soon as I started playing it, I realized like this is the game for me. I felt really like connected to the game.
When we're talking a bit about your team, like you guys spend a ton of time on TeamSpeak, you're practicing a lot. You also had a bootcamp before the event started. How much of a deal was that to you, like playing at a bootcamp? Was it also the first time that you really connected with like the entire team at an offline location? Did that have an impact on the team spirit?
I think something uncommon for our team is that after practice, we stay on the TeamSpeak and we play Hero League, we play other games, we hang out, we watch like VODs, we watch just random YouTube videos. We just hang around as a team basically all day. And I think a lot of teams just disappear as soon as practice ends. So for us, it was like we also don't have any obligations as a team. We can practice all day if we want. We can play Hero League all day if we want. We can do whatever. And so for us, the bootcamp was the main thing it did for us is it increased our communication. Like when we lost the game, we immediately sort of gathered around one PC. We watched the replay. We discussed it face to face, and that's something big. But I think for other teams, it'd be a lot more helpful.
Okay, so with the team, like right now, you are doing, as we already mentioned, like extremely well. And the next goal is, of course, like Blizzcon. You said that you want to play against MVP Black. That's the big goal there. Do you think that you have a chance of actually like winning BlizzCon if you make it, of course, to the event? And also, when we're talking BlizzCon, of course, we're going to talk about regions again. What is your current take on like the three regions, Europe, Korea, and NA?
I think something we've realized in this tournament is that we should definitely focus more on tournament practice rather than general practice. Coming into this tournament, we put a ton of effort into just general practice, like getting better at playing the game standard. But the thing that Navi did so well is they prepared for the tournament. They basically practiced with the goals of beating the teams specifically, which is definitely not something that's happened in Heroes before. It's happened a lot in other esports, but this is, I think, the next big development in the scene. And going to BlizzCon, we will 100% be practicing for the teams rather than for us.
What is your take on the strength of the scenes right now? Especially, of course, like the well-discussed comparison between North America and Europe. What's your current take on that?
Well, despite Team Liquid losing 2-0 to Cloud9, I actually do still think Europe's stronger. I think Team Liquid were a bit on tilt after they lost the second game, maybe third game to MVP Black. That was definitely a series they could have taken if they were more composed, I think. And after that, it was just sort of, there was no way they could win those Cloud9 games with the draft they had. So I don't really take much from that, because the drafts also weren't representative of them. It wasn't their style. I think Korea is arguably the strongest right now. In terms of mechanical skill, they're really good. In terms of synergy as a team, they're really good. But I think they lack in meta. I think their meta is exploitable.
Okay, fair enough. Two questions that I still have, like more on a personal nature now again. Your nickname, where exactly does that come from? Of course, originally you were not called Bakery, but the new Bakery. What's going on with the old bakery? Where did all of that come from?
So my brother actually made an email account, I think, or it might have been a game account, which was the new bakery. And I had to make an account, and my old nickname didn't fit for some reason.
What was your old nickname?
I think it was Octopus4, but it didn't fit. So I was like, I'll put the newer bakery. And that just kind of stuck. Obviously, when I sort of started playing Heroes, it occurred to me that the newer bakery doesn't fit on a team tag, and TN Bakery looks kind of bad. So I just cut the newer, or the TN, and I'm just bakery now.
And again, what happened to the old bakery? If there's a new bakery, there must be an old bakery. Did you never ask him? You never even asked. Wow. Right, one more question that I have. If you would have to name the best support player in Europe, and you're not allowed to name yourself, who would it be?
Grandpa Cat.
All right, Grandpa Cat, hands down.
Yeah.
I thought you had a bit of a battle there with like he's actually like one of the few players in Europe that also plays Charism, right? I mean, you guys are playing the hero a lot. Is it a bit of a deal between the two of you that you're like trying to show each other off and like trying to like just like play that particular hero better than the other one? Is there a bit of rivalry going on?
I spoke to him a bit after the game, and the thing he said to me, like pretty much straight off, was, "I won a game on Monk." So yeah, like I was the first one to start playing Monk when he was first sort of on PTR. Me and him had a lot of discussions on how he would be used, how he's strong and stuff, but his team wasn't really behind it. Luckily mine was. So yeah, I was the first one to pick that up. But
Okay, so well, besides that, there's actually like not too much. I don't want to like hold you too long here as well. So first of all, thanks for the interview. Congratulations to the victory over Team Liquid, now advancing, and all the best for the rest of the tournament. I guess we're gonna hear a lot more from you, and also congratulations to the new team, to Dignitas. Any shout-outs you have?
shout outs to Team Dignitas and all their sponsors, and of course Odie.
All right, thank you very much once again, and yeah, good luck.